Welcome back to the Charles Ozbek experience.
Owen's gone.
Owen's gone. He's been kicked out. No longer welcome in this gym anymore.
No, he's coming back. He's gone for a hair transplant.
Oh, is he? Is that where he went? Turkey. He went Turkey, innit?
Yeah.
Right.
He's back soon. So
Yeah.
you've got me for the week.
No, he went to Miami for a hair transplant. And he'll be back on the 8th. So yeah, shout out Owen Flanagan. What's going on, man? How have you been? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while I haven't seen you since our last podcast. So let's catch up. What's been happening? How's your training? What's going on at the moment?
Training's good. What have I been up to?
Get that mic right in your face, man.
I went snowboarding, so I took a week off.
Yeah.
And now I've come back and I'm back in training, getting ready for ADCC.
Nice.
In February.
And you happy to talk about what weight class you compete in?
It's a little secret, but yes. I'm probably going to go back down to 77 because 88 is going to be filled with guys that are cutting weight and probably IVing on top of the excessive Anavar they're probably taking.
Mate, just a tip. You've got to talk into the... Yeah, exactly.
That way.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to do 77 trials.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do 77. I think 88 is going to be too big, so I'm going to try and cut down to 77.
Okay.
And day before weigh-in, that kind of changed everything.
When's the trials coming up? We got February.
February 16th.
Okay, that's coming up soon. That's a mere month away. Almost.
Stefan's going to do 88. Owen's already going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Little prick. So yeah. And then also little Owen as well.
Young Wesley, he's already got his ticket there.
He's got 66. So yeah, let's see, 77. But I think it's an awkward one because 77 is probably the most stacked one. Yes. By far.
Yeah.
So you got, if you think about who didn't make it, it's like Tarza, Shasinski, Langacker. Yeah. All right, those are arguably the three. And then
just in Europe alone.
Yeah. And then you'll get all the guys like Crispy Ozbek, who was like 80 kilos on the day for 88. So he'll cut back down. Right. So it'll be stacked.
There'll be some savages then. Looking forward to them.
Yeah, it'll be fun as fuck.
Yeah. All right.
So let's see.
What are you working on in training? How's your judo going?
Stand-up's going to actually, to be
mate,
fair, pretty well.
You've got to get that microphone and you've got to literally just keep it like this the whole time.
You need to buy some better microphones.
This is the top level. This is as good as I get.
We need to design a new microphone. Training's going well. Doing stand-up as usual. However, I'm focusing less on it and more on kind of the ground stuff.
You're a judo fella. So give a bit of background for the new, not even the new listeners. People have no idea who you are and why you have 10K followers on Instagram. What have you done to deserve that?
You've got 20. You've somehow got to 20.
Yeah.
Sharpish.
No,
so basically I grew up doing judo, and as Charles says, I got to 10K basically by highlight reeling a bunch of
people on grappling industries.
Yeah, just grappling industries, nothing else.
Yep.
And the training room. But yeah, I basically I think I've exhausted that. So I think I'm going to go back down to just doing some more leg locks, doing some more passing, which is what I've been focusing on now, because I've kind of accepted the fact that everyone's going to pretty much pull guard.
Yep.
So I think that's a bit more realistic.
Fair play. Let's get some questions. Let's get the questions out that you received.
Do you have any funny ones?
I mean, I've always got a bunch of them, but I can kick it off if you want.
All right, let's go one.
Best lifts to develop a destructive double leg. Double leg is a skill and involves a lot of timing. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to get a good double leg, it's more to do with the timing of the move.
How'd you do your double leg, Charles?
I don't really do double legs. I need more practice on my wrestling.
What takedowns do you do, Charles?
I don't do a lot, yeah. I don't do a lot. I've got you with some double legs. Don't lie. And you know I have. Just by ramming and just going forward as fast as possible.
Would you say ramming is your specialty?
Yeah. So if you, jokes aside, to develop forward momentum, you need to practice things where you're jumping in a forward momentum. So like, again, plyometrics, very good. Moving in a locomotively in a forward direction. Sled pushes, also very good. Hip thrusts could be a good idea. Basically, what you want to develop is good balance and coordination of single legs, and then obviously work on the skill acquisition component of a takedown. Not just the skill of doing the double leg takedown, the timing of it, how you're setting it up, what you're doing to get there. That's what I would say.
That is a great answer, Charles.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Hand fighting tips to get an underhook or waist grip.
This is all you. This is your bread and butter.
How would you do this, Charles?
Bread and butter.
How would you get an underhook?
I get an underhook on you and I just let it go because I don't want to get thrown. That's what I'll do.
So the issue is, mate, how do you get the underhook?
See those bars, mate? You've got to keep that.
My bars are high.
You've got to keep that in.
So in terms of getting an underhook, I'm usually going to look to clasp the thumb and then pummel my elbow over, and then I can backstroke my elbow, which will give me that pocket to pummel the underhook into. So I'm usually looking to take a downward facing grip on the thumb, elbow over, elbow comes nice and high, and then I take my underhook. I wouldn't chase a waist grip because, I mean, the closer you get to someone's waist, the stronger they'll defend it. You know, obviously the less they want you to have it. So it's going to be a lot harder to get to it just, you know, cold. I would go from an underhook to a waist grip. You're going to find it a lot easier to drop from high to low to catch that waist. Also, I don't tend to reach for stuff because the more I reach, the more my weight is on my toes, which means I'm more loaded for front throws from whoever I'm going up against. That's how you're going to get sent. So I wouldn't chase grips by leaning into them. I would set it up. So I'd go underhook to waist grip.
Have we done a video on this?
Grip fighting?
No, getting to an underhook. I feel like we've done a technique tip on this.
No,
start with the getting.
It's in my instructional, but it's not on the technique tip.
Right.
We'll do one.
What's the detail? This is a perfect plug for your instructional. What do you cover in your instructional?
So the instructional has kind of 4 main parts. You'll have an uchi, a harai.
First of all, what is it about? It's about judo.
It's about no-gi judo.
Foot sweeps.
No, so it includes foot sweeps. One of the sections is foot sweeps. So we start off, we cover grip fighting, getting into dominant grips, and then getting into dominant positions.
Right.
Then it's off balancing, which is, I think, the key bit that everyone misses out. And then off that, once you've off balanced said individual, then it's about throwing them. Whether it's a foot sweep, whether it's a hip throw, or, you know, an uchi, a harai, all that kind of links into the family of hip throws.
What are some key details to get good foot sweeps on people? Because I'm fucking clueless, man. Like, I don't understand. Because I've never practiced it either. But what for someone literally like...
You've never practiced foot sweeps?
Obviously not. No. Obviously not. But like, what's the start? Like, what if someone's looking to go, okay, I want to get decent at foot sweeps, where do I start? What's some key details I'm looking for?
Okay, so number one, you don't want to telegraph it. So
as
Charles
in, like,
over here...
Giving a Muay Thai kick.
Yeah, Charles over here has fought in the Limpini Stadium.
Yeah.
All right. So what you don't want to do is basically let the guy know from about 10 minutes before that you're going to foot sweep him. So you want to start tracking their feet and have your foot nice and close. No big swings. The other thing is you need to know what you're looking for. So I'm usually looking for the feet coming together. And, you know, for all you avid Charles Owen experienced listeners, you're going to be like, well, no idiot puts their feet together. But the reality is they do often if they're fleeing an attack that hasn't worked, or if they're just moving sideways. You'll often get that little period where one foot comes close to the other and then the other one takes a step away. So that's when you're kind of looking to take the feet together and foot sweep them.
As they're
coming together, as that weight transfer happens.
Go on.
All right. The closer I can catch you to looking like a tree, the better.
Go on.
All right. If you're a tree, I can sweep you. If you're a house, you can't because you're going to limp leg.
Yes. They'll be like...
Yeah, you can just high step, or you can go heel to butt and avoid it.
Okay. And the hands, you're trying to off balance them, try and push them in certain directions?
Yeah, usually I'll take a collar tie. I'll keep my elbow nice and sharp, and then I'll look to guide you one way and then catch you on your timing. Other options I find is if I've got, for example, behind someone as they're turning to face, so you can have that off a back body lock, rear body lock.
I've seen you do this.
turns.
Yeah, like if you're behind someone, wait for them to like move. And
Yeah. Because look, no one wants you to be behind them unless it's Saturday night. So what they're going to do is as soon as you get behind them, they're going to look to turn. So you've got to be kind of ready to catch them on the turn. But you also don't want to make it too obvious that you're waiting for them to turn. There's got to be enough of a threat where they're like, listen, shit, if I stay here, I'm going to get sent on my head.
Yeah.
So I've got to turn. And that's when you want to do it. So you don't want to just take a rear body lock, sit there and be like, all right, cool. Turn, mate. Because he's going to be like, well, no, dickhead, I'm not going to turn.
Right.
So
timing is key.
Timing. Okay, go on then.
Take away. You go.
Okay. Without joining a judo school, how would you start learning judo for BJJ? Okay, so number one, instructionals.
Satoshi Ishii.
Jokes aside, Satoshi has a very good instructional. I've got an instructional. J-Flow as well.
Shout J-Flow. I haven't thought about that in ages.
J-Flow has a couple of good things. I think sometimes J-Flow gets a little bit too flowy, but I do think he's got quite a couple of good techniques.
Shout out J-Flow.
I don't think you need to go to a judo school to learn judo, is the reality. I think for jiu-jitsu, you're better off.
Obviously, if the goal is to get better at judo for jiu-jitsu, then yes.
It depends if it's with a gi or not a gi, though. That's the difference.
Right.
So if you're doing gi, then go for it.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then you're not going to get the grips.
How much?
Go.
How much of judo no-gi, how much of judo is going to translate to no-gi stand-up?
See, that's the thing. So when I first transitioned, pardon the pun,
Is it a pun? Did you actually transition sexually?
maybe.
Yeah.
I was a bit frustrated because I went from pretty much being pretty good at judo to being able to send most people to then taking that same mentality and that same rule set to jiu-jitsu. And the issue is that if you turn in judo and you turn in 1,000% and you miss and you don't manage to throw the guy, you can turtle up for 3 seconds and then stand back up. Now, you do the same thing in jiu-jitsu, which is what I used to do.
Keep talking. I'm just going to check the battery.
So
keep going.
You need to kind of have an idea that you are learning correct technique, but it cannot be just replicated because the rules are different. You can't try and throw someone in jiu-jitsu 1,000% and not care about the landing, because in jiu-jitsu all you care about is the landing.
Yeah.
In judo you just care about sending. Someone. So that's where the difference is. You don't want to get stuck into the judo world too much.
So what do?
You need to, I think, learn how to throw, but also stay on top.
Foot sweeps.
Foot sweeps are great. Hip throws are great. But if you hip throw, you need to make sure, in my opinion, you have the far side underhook, or you can go down the body enough. So let's say I've hip thrown you off an overhook. What I don't want to do is land and leave my overhook on the far side nice and high. Otherwise, you're going to start to climb up and take my back.
Fion does some nice hip throws.
Yeah. Fion's got a good way of taking someone down and then just keeping pressure on top and staying on top.
She's very strong for her weight class, yeah.
She is strong as shit, yeah.
She's strong as fuck.
Okay, let me see what else we got.
Nice. We got heaps. I've been diagnosed with a herniated L5 disc. What's your advice to speed up recovery? The biggest thing you could do, so as the avid podcast listeners know, I had L4, L5 discectomy of my spine. So if you have a bulging disc, you can still do a lot of stuff even if you do have a herniated disc. But the main thing is to do things that don't aggravate it. If I were you, I would stay off things that are going to compress the spine. So it's called axial loading. So if you're doing, squats, deadlifts, or like even just holding really heavy weights, even like heavy single leg work, that may aggravate your back because it's causing downward pressure on the spine, which is going to aggravate the disc. So number one, I would avoid things that is going to further aggravate it. Jiu-jitsu, if you got herniated disc, that may be aggravating. So take like 2 or 3 weeks off that, but don't stop training at all. You could still go to the gym 3 times a week, lift weights, but do more like chest supported exercises where you're not putting a lot of compression on the spine. That being said, you may also be fine to do some exercises where you can tolerate a bit of, spinal pressure. One of my athletes, shout out Big Haz, I reckon he bulged one of his discs in his back doing some, just through like days and days of hard training in a row. And he had like all the sciatic pain down his back, but we could still do some deadlifts, but not any like heavy back squats or anything. Got him on the belt squat. So I guess to answer your question properly, I would make sure I do daily mobility to get the core working, the core fired up. You must get the spine moving through some good ranges, rotation range, frontal range, some good breathing exercises, and then you just need to avoid things for now that's going to piss it off, but still definitely keep training.
Any supplementation?
Any saps?
Waste the well?
Shout out waste the well.
Stem cells?
Growth hormone probably won't help that much, to be fair. Not for a disc.
Stem cells?
Again, even if you get stem cells, it's like 40, 60 chance it's going to work.
Is it that low?
It's low, man. You may get it, and the whole process of getting it, number one, is expensive. It's a fucking pain in the ass, and it may not even work.
It's a good reason to tell the missus you're going to like Cancun.
Yeah, I've got to go to Cancun.
I've got to go to Cancun. It just happens to be spring break.
I've got to go to Cancun.
But yeah, stem cells.
They
didn't work.
I've got to do something.
But something else is bulging.
So keep training. Exactly. To keep training, like do upper body weights. If you go to the gym, you can still get the leg extension. You've got the hamstring curl machine. You can still do some machine stuff. No leg press though, because that's going to be compressive on the spine. Avoid things that are going to cause spinal compression for now, and then slowly build your way back into it. That should be a sufficient answer. Do you have the next one ready to go, or do you want me to go again?
Let's go. Funniest training stories. Do you have any? You must have some. You've trained at some random places. You've done Muay Thai.
I've done Muay Thai. Probably I don't care enough. I just go in and train and just.
I'm sure you've seen some mad shit happen.
What have I seen? Oh, I've already told the story about this guy came into RGA and he got an introduction class and he just kicked off, went crazy. Have I told you the story? Have you heard about it?
That's what I'm asking you.
I mean, massive guy comes in.
Where is he from?
And does the introductory class. We're all lining up for the next class, and he just keeps hassling the instructor. And the instructor's like, I can't be just deal with this guy. So he gets the biggest instructor in the room. And the guy's like, what do I do if this guy like runs at me? Like, and he's like, okay, but maybe you could do this. And he's like, mate, I've got to teach class now. He goes, no, keep teaching me. Like, what do I do? And he's like, okay, run at me. And then he just hip throws him, puts him into the armbar. And he goes, that's what I would do. And he goes, let's do it again. It's like, the class is done. Like, being as respectful as possible. Can you please leave? And the guy just goes, show me again, pushes him. And then the instructor's like, mate, honestly, you have to go. Guy spits in his face. The instructor.
Imagine this is like mid-COVID.
It's mid-class. Like, we're all, like, the whole class is lining up. The instructor throws a spinning back kick to his stomach. Out of everything, throws a spinning
that just
back.
shows how useless jits is.
First move, spinning back kick to the stomach.
Was it like there was no setup, no jab?
No setup, and then there's there's a big like fucking scramble, rumbling. He got punched in the face a couple times. One of his teeth went flying across the room, and he's going crazy this time, spitting again at people. Then he's like, they like get him out of the room. The whole class, we're all just standing there, just watching, and he's outside the class, like headbutting the glass, going absolutely mental, screaming, and then I think the police come and they take him away. That was crazy. So that was a funny story.
Oh my god, that is bad.
You?
Yeah, that's bad. I've got so many, and they're all from the same place.
Give us one of the best.
I was teaching maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago,
in a building, yeah,
and at the said place, and some guy comes in. And he's basically like first timer, blah, blah, blah. And I pair him up with this girl who's like, I think just got her blue belt.
Oh, you're teaching your class, okay.
Yeah. So he's completely new, kind of like, I think Algerian or something, kind of confident, whatever. Right. And I pair him up with this girl just for like a little bit of a humbling experience.
He's going to be aggressive, man.
But she's also quite tough. Like,
right.
She's tough. She's not like going to just roll over, whatever. And she's also like pretty athletic. Anyway, so they start sparring.
This is going to be a night, man.
And, he must be like 22, 23. Anyway, he basically gets tapped 5 times in like the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Armbarred, choked, the lot.
Fair play.
And then he comes up to me, he's like, yo, who's this bitch you put me with and why is she wrecking me? Anyway, the girl overhears him and she's like, okay, like a bit offended. Anyway, they go back to train together. And okay. I just said like, cool, round 2. Like, this is quite entertaining. Like, keep going. And
good coaching, man. Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, master plan worked. She didn't get hurt. She just assaulted him, and she realized how good she'd gotten. Anyway, so she goes back, blah blah blah, and the guy like basically double legs her right off the bat. They go to touch hands, and he just double legs her straight, like fake glove touch, straight double leg.
Amazing.
And he starts chatting to her. He's like, "You should tap now, bitch. You should tap now, yeah." And she just armbars me, like just scream tapping.
This is amazing.
Anyway. End of the session, this has gone on, I've let them do like 5 rounds. He calls his mum. His mum now comes there, picks him up, he's crying, and he's like, yo, this bitch made me cry.
He's crying?
Yeah, his
23-year-old fella?
Yeah, and his mum's like taking him off.
Unbelievable.
I think the other one that comes to mind was during COVID at said place. We basically had like an elite athletes program. So a couple of us were legally allowed to train during COVID.
Yes.
And obviously, when we kind of realized that COVID was a bit of a sham, right? And like, we were healthy.
Just fluff over the details, yeah.
Whatever.
For that, yeah.
A couple of other people started coming, like 2 or 3 people started
up.
coming in, right? And someone brought their friend in who was a pretty athletic, 6'3", guy. Anyway, he herniated. I think he like must have ruptured 2 or 3 discs in the back.
This guy straight off the bat.
Yeah, it's like, but it was.
But what happened? Tell us what happened.
He shot a cold double leg. I think injured his back badly, and he was screaming.
Didn't he just sit down or something?
No, he was screaming in pain. He shot a double leg.
No, but he sat. Was it a double leg or? Okay, yeah.
He shot a double leg. The guy sprawled and he just damaged his back badly.
Yeah, popped.
But we're like, shit. This guy can't be here. We can't call the ambulance. And we're like, fuck, like, what do we do now? So we take him to the back room to like assess him. And obviously we've got no doctors there. So it's like all of us trying to assess him. Like,
you are a surgeon though, yeah.
yeah. So we're like, fuck, like this is kind of bad.
He needs surgery
but we
now.
can't call the ambulance there. So we're like, all right, shit. Like, you know, we've got to take you out of the back. Like, bite down on this. So we basically like stuff something in his mouth and he's biting
an apple. Or we could only find an apple.
Like, it wasn't a tennis ball. I think it was a mouth guard. I think we taped the mouth
guard. A tennis ball is that's a big fit, man. Yeah. No, you need the tennis ball.
We put a mouth
Get the fucking tennis ball in your mouth.
We put a mouth guard in him, taped it or something, and then we had to
why'd you tape his mouth? The tape is unnecessary. The mouth, bro, just bite down on this. No. Tape his mouth. Tape his fucking mouth shut.
Take him out the back, but because he's in so much pain that he looks like he's gonna pass out, we thought it'd be better to strap him to a chair. So
you've taped him to a chair and you've taped his mouth with a mouth guard. Okay.
And we're taking him up the back exit, and there's like 4 dudes, right? And I look the friendliest, which says a lot, right? Everyone else like tatted up.
You look pretty friendly, yeah.
So we go out the back exit. And this random guy, because it's a car park, is parked his car, and he makes eye contact at 4 dudes with a guy duct taped to a chair or something, or like he's just sat on a chair, and he just looks down like he thinks he's just seeing like an execution.
No worries, fellas, all good.
He looks, he just goes,
"Keep me out of this, fellas."
Like just human instinct
kicked
in. He was like, "I don't care about reporting this. I'm just gonna let him die as long as I live.
I'm not involved in this."
So then we position him in the car. And we're like, listen, you just got to tell people, like, you know, you bent over to get your phone and you just got injured. So,
and that's that.
And then he got driven away and that was it.
Wow. So if you hurt your back, it's back to the back question. Get a mouth guard in your mouth and tape it up. That's the key.
It was outrageous.
That's the key here. All right, here we go. Best carb to consume post-training. Any carb will do. Actually, no, that is not the answer. Best carb to consume post-training. You could have, it depends what time of day it is. It depends if you have training later. I would say a quick carb is always nice. If you can have a little soft drink with a meal, that is good. But that's really the meal time is where we want to consume our more longer lasting carbohydrates, your lower GI carbs, complex carbs as they're known. So your more whole grain options, you know, sweet potatoes, brown rices, or doesn't have to be a whole grain option, but we like the whole grain as it's gonna, you know, steady the rate of blood glucose, which is
what do you think of the carnivore diet?
I think it's a terrible thing to do.
Really? What? Yeah. You know, Joe Rogan swears by it.
He doesn't swear by it. He says it makes him feel good, but he
says it gives him mental clarity.
He says that, yeah, but I mean, it may work for some people, but I think like I think any diet where it's really extreme and excessive. Look, you're gonna have outliers where things work really well for people. Like whether it's a vegan diet, some people feel good on vegan diets, some people feel good on vegetarian diets, which is all fine. There's no like, oh, that's really bad, but it's like I don't think most people should be doing that. Look, if you really want to do something, like I say to people, just try it. Try it. Do it for a week. Do it for 2. Do it for a month. See if it works for you. It may be. You may be like, this is groundbreaking for me, or maybe like, this is really bad for me.
Yeah, I felt keto, funnily enough, helped me lose weight when I was trying to get 77 last time.
I mean, yeah,
I felt crap the first week, and then I kind of adjusted.
What's going to help you lose weight is just being disciplined with your calories. So it's just the way that you would cut your calories down. That's the main thing. I'll hit this next one quick because it's basically the same question. How would you fuel for a 6 a.m. class? I would make sure I have 30 to 90 grams of carbohydrates. This is where before training, we want to have our quick acting carbohydrates. So this is our more sugary, you know, like fruits, a soft drink. You could even have oats, to be fair, if you want, with some like some honey on it or some fruit in there. But you want your quick carbohydrates 30 to 60 minutes before training.
Worst experience with a client and why?
For me,
we'll both do it. Worst experience, you must have one.
I've got a whole bunch.
Go on, then, give us one.
Well, it depends what worst experience. To be honest, the worst experience for me with clients is just people who they keep saying they're doing the right thing and then they're just not doing the right thing. That's annoying for me. I'm not going to get into some crazy story. I don't even have that many crazy stories to be fair. I did have one guy online, and this is actually pretty funny. And he went on a Reddit forum recently. It was perfect. He went crazy at me. He accused me of being a pedophile and a nonce. And we only had an online interaction with
I wonder why he'd say that.
With each other. And he's like, he just went fucking crazy at me.
The Epstein files are out, by the way.
Huh?
You know the Epstein files are out.
I actually got a question about that. But anyway, this guy he just lost it at me because
So two people think
he would keep. This is the same person. He would keep sending me. He would keep sending me videos of his exercises, and I'd keep updating him, be like, mate, we just need to correct this, correct that. Please be mindful. And he'd just keep back week to week doing the exact same fucking thing. I'd be like, dude, please watch the videos. Like, mate, just watch it. And like, I'll even get on FaceTime with you when you're in the gym. Like, we need to correct this. And they just keep doing the same thing over again. And then, anyway, recently he was on the Reddit. I knew it was him because the pedophile thing. He was on a Reddit forum. He's like, something big spiel about Roger Gracie. He goes, Charles Allen Price, you know, the worst coach ever. He shared all my information with all these other people, which is false. And then he was like, it's something about non-seeing or pedophilia.
The thing is, you can't really deny it. That's the thing.
I don't care.
But if you start denying you're a pedophile, it makes you look worse. You can't be like, no, I'm not a pedophile, obviously. And you're like, fuck, like, why am I taking this seriously?
I would say right now, I'm not a pedophile.
Live on air. Exclusive.
Live on air. And then I already have the microphone on. And then he, one of my clients saw it. He sent it to me, and he goes, "Actually, I've had a great experience with Charles Allen Price." And he just kicked off at him. He goes, "I'll get you in touch with my lawyers. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Why do I care?" I was like, "This is perfect. You've just gone crazy on a Reddit reel, and you've just exposed yourself as an absolute madman on this huge like."
Can we get a link to this? I want to see this.
I'll put a link on it
This
at the
is
bottom.
mental.
You go. Let's go. Kick it off.
Worth experience. Okay.
Make it
to
quick.
be honest, I
fun.
don't train that many people because
You have
I
one-
spend most of my time training.
Yep.
But a friend of mine asked me to train him a while ago. But this guy took it to a new extreme. So his goal was that every day he should wake up lighter. And his biggest fear was waking up heavier, not accounting.
Get that mic in, fam.
Not accounting for liquids. So
Oh God, you get this guy up every possible chance.
It's the worst experience ever.
Go,
I mean, he's literally he's on the treadmill at Equinox in High Street Ken with 10 layers on, right? And every 10 minutes, he's taking off one layer. So it's an 100-minute walk, but then the gradient goes up one every 10 minutes and one layer comes off.
This is a disaster.
Right? And then like there's a refueling session. But the worst bit is that he would piss into a bottle. And then
You loved it. Honestly, you told this in the last. Continue.
doesn't last one.
Continue though.
All right, let me think of another one.
No, continue this story. This is
So
the
yeah,
last story.
whatever
you
would
get.
go in must come out.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't drink more water until that one bottle had been filled up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he was your client,
He was a friend of mine.
and you trained him for a bit.
Yeah,
That was the
trained him
client
for a bit.
experience. Otherwise, that had nothing to do with it, and you just wanted to tell that story.
I got asked it, so I thought I'd answer it. But I
Right.
was just curious to see what you'd say.
Here we what you would say. Are you focused on eating your macros when you're sick? Does your diet change at all? So I think when you're sick, the biggest detail you can focus on, and what is actually really important, is your hydration. Make sure you stay really hydrated, because you'll lose quite a bit of fluid. I don't know exactly how, but you'll just naturally lose more fluid. So make sure you're on top of your hydration. I would just focus on you don't want to be forcing food down if you're sick, but I would be focusing on trying to maintain relatively high protein. Protein is going to help your body heal faster. Make sure you're taking vitamin D3 supplements, take your fish oil, take your zinc supplements, growth hormone. Yeah. I would just let your macros go out the window. Just try and eat well, lots of healthy foods, lots of nutrient dense foods, and keep your protein high. That's going to be a sensible thing to do.
All right, go on. All right. I'm slightly shorter in stature. What moves would you recommend for me?
That's you, Chief.
So,
Shout out PJ Morecambe.
what, Tyrion Lannister? Have you seen Game of Thrones?
No, I've actually never seen it.
You need to watch it. You need to watch that and War Dogs. War Dogs is brilliant as well.
Okay.
Different strokes, different folks.
Keep going.
If you are super tall, you will find it harder to hit hip throws and haragoshis. The reason why is you need to have your waistline, your belt line, lower than your partner's to start to elevate them. So if you are a short king, you have the benefit of having your hips under, which means you have to do less work. So I'd recommend that. For someone slightly taller, you might find it harder to get under someone. However, you will have a better time staying at range and picking them apart with foot sweeps. So look at your body, look at yourself. Figure out, what you should have as a game based off that. If you're super tall, you're not going to be able to get under someone that easily, i.e. a Fireman's or a drop CEO. You're going to have to drop so much further than your average individual.
That's a good point.
So For someone shorter, drop under them. You're under them anyway, so look to get your hip line under and then elevate off balance. If you're taller, stay long, make use of what you have and pick them apart with foot sweeps, because you have to be less off balance to foot sweep them and get countered back. You're putting yourself in less risk for the same reward.
Center of gravity is lower, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you're literally looking to do. You're looking to basically have them have as little contact with the floor as possible before you've compromised your own balance, which is why you're looking to pull up, drop your body, and bring them forward. So if you can get all their weight basically suspended on the front of all their toes before you even turned in, they're gone. It's basically a game. It's a game of who's compromising most balance. You don't want to turn in on someone that's just flat-footed. He's going to pick you up and send you.
Yeah.
What you want to try and do is do all the work before, have him leaning forward, all the weight, and then turn in. The closer he is to doing a forward roll, basically, the easier it's to throw him. It's basically an involuntary forward roll. So the more leaning, the more turn the shoulders are, the easier for you.
Fair play. How to build muscles with regular boxing training, mate. Just same way you would do it for jiu-jitsu training. You just need to get into the gym and train 2 to 3 times per week. How to track your workload in jiu-jitsu. Opinion on wearables. You can get the wearables, the whoop straps, the armband thing, or
do they stay on though?
Arturus wears the armband one. I've seen some people wear the wrist one.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's stupid.
That's ridiculous.
There's one you can get in your boxes that stays tight to it hugs your nuts or maybe your gooch.
That can't be good for you.
It's probably not that bad. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't wear wearables. I just don't care enough. I don't care about the data or any of that shit. I just would. To track the workload, you're just going to same as you would in the weight room. Track your RPE. Okay, how hard am I working right now? You know what I mean? You just need to be build the more that you train, the better understanding you're going to have of how hard you're working. You're going to just rate it on the scale 1 to 10. Hard to do in the moment, but let's say you go to jiu-jitsu and okay, the goal of this session is to train at 7 or 8 RPE, not go 10. If you catch yourself working at 10, be like, mate, I just need to cool this down, and then you'd cool it down.
Have you ever trained anything less than RPE 10?
No.
Can you admit that you do this for fitness and it's minimum 180 BPM every session?
Well, I'm actually changing my schedule this year, so I'm going to keep doing it 3 days a week. I'm going to do 2 privates with Owen, and I'm going to get a wrestling private in as well. So that'll actually be 6.
When am I teaching you private?
I'm not doing a private with you. I'm doing a private with Sharp. Well, he hasn't got back to me, so I'll shout him out once we actually get started. But I want to, the thing is, I can't. If you do have a back injury, and you've had surgery, or you have an ongoing chronic fatigue in your back, and you're a little bit older, plus 30 or even plus 35, be mindful. It's if you do jiu-jitsu on consecutive days, have a what's the word I'm looking for? Plan. No, just be reflect. Okay, how does my back feel after this? If I do consecutive days of jiu-jitsu, my back just fucking feels beat up and tight. I can get away with it for a little bit, but if I'm I want to train 5 days in a row, which I would love to, it never works out. It always just goes ping, and I get fucked. So
Fireman carry counters, things that actually work.
Fireman carries the one who you drop and throw them over the shoulder. Is that fireman's carry?
That's a drop COE. Fireman's where you would pull, let's say, the elbow, the tricep, over your head, and you take almost like a high crotch.
Right, so you go and drop completely underneath them and lift them up that way. Yeah. Go on.
But the new kind of variation is that then they're stepping through. They're sitting through the fireman's, so they take the initial load and then throw you that way.
Okay.
Sad Live, that was a really good one.
Shouts at Live.
Fireman carry counters. Actually, a really good counter I saw recently was Kenta's in the ADCC Trials final.
What's his name?
Kenta Iwamoto.
Okay.
B-team.
Okay. Sure.
Identical to Joseph Chen.
Got it.
Basically, the whole point is you want to get your weight off them. Now, the issue with that is that now everyone's doing this sit-through. The one that Kenta countered, he basically half cartwheeled it and took his legs off the far side of the arm and brought them to the same side as his body, as his head is.
Okay.
Right? So, in my opinion, the best, you can do 2 options. You can either choose to drape over your partner, which is to kind of accept you're going to get loaded and almost look to overturn and get your body to the same side as your head. Get your legs the same side as your head.
Okay.
right? And the other option is you can try and sprawl it. But the issue is if you try and sprawl it, I think now people are good enough that they can sit through and go for this like sit through fireman's where they take the initial load and then they collapse the front knee.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And what? And which position will you end up in? Will you
You'll
falling over?
You'll end up in if this happens to you, you'll end up in on the bottom in a side control.
Yeah.
Their head and their body will be on the same side.
Yeah.
And they'll often look to go cross body by hopping over.
It'll be easy for the listeners because then you can just keep going back and forth on that audio if they're not getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair play. Shout out, Jeff. Okay, who is Jeff Epstein's flight logs?
By the way, have you seen some of them?
No. What is it? What's the whole thing? What's the whole thing about?
So basically, Jeffrey Epstein was killed himself. We don't know.
Yeah.
Let's not get defunded, but whatever. He's gonzo, right?
Yeah.
Now, he had with him a list.
He was getting okay.
And he kept a list. It was his little black book. It was basically his leverage against the government. And he was recording people that went there, okay, onto the island that him and Ghislaine were running.
He's fucked up, man. He knew one day it was going to go down.
Yeah, but so did John McAfee.
Right.
So John McAfee was the founder of McAfee Security.
Right.
And he basically tweeted right before he went into this prison in Spain that like, listen, I'm perfectly sane. They're going to say I've killed myself. I haven't killed myself. Guess what? He got found to have been hanged. Right? Anyway, long story short, back to Epstein. The judge basically ruled.
Yeah.
The judge ruled that they were going to release a set of names from the little black book that he had. And they came out with a couple of stories.
This is recently?
This was yesterday night.
Okay.
What's mad is the website crashed because I was actually trying to read the list.
You're such a geek. You love this stuff, man.
I'm into it. Anyway, so you had so basically they talked about Stephen Hawking. Everyone can have sex.
He loves pussy, man. Yeah.
No, but he was basically so they mentioned Stephen Hawking, but in a capacity.
That's retarded. But anyway, go on.
It's a bit rude.
He's not retarded. He's smart as fuck. He's disabled, but he's not retarded. Anyway, continue.
So he was on it, but in a different capacity. I think he made a couple of weird requests, like he wanted to watch people run around and shit.
Okay.
Michael Jackson was on it, as I think, having been there.
Right.
Bill Clinton got outed badly.
He would have loved that.
Ironically, Trump was mentioned, but in a good way. He said the kind of what came out yesterday said that he actually didn't go there, which is interesting.
Wow.
But it's
Billy Gates?
Bill, I think.
No way Billy Gates got on there.
No, he was involved somehow. Who else was it? There was a couple of. There was one guy who was a modeling scout, a very famous modeling scout who died last year in 2022 who was on it.
Why did you say that? No one cares about that fella. Anyway, let's go. Next question. Would you...
Prince Andrew was on it, obviously.
We obviously know that. Would you recommend 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight per day for BJJ? Yes, 100% I would. Should you be continuing my strength and conditioning the week leading up to competitions? No, what I would say is do your hardest session you're looking them up. What I'd say is do your hardest weights training session 2 weeks before your competition, and then the week of competition, that's a great chance to rest, recover, do some light jiu-jitsu, get ready for the match, and allow those strength adaptations you've been doing the weeks before to, you're not going to make any gains of that week, but recovering that week, you should make positive adaptations to all that week of training that you've done. Not to say that you're going to make massive gains, but it's a good chance for you to recover, to feel fresh for your training, for your competition that week. Next question. How to get leaner while keeping the same schedule? 2 weights, 3 times BJJ. If you want to get leaner, mate, it's just your calories. You got to be in a calorie deficit. 500 calorie deficit below your maintenance calories is what I'd recommend. Do that for 8 to 12 weeks, and you should start. You could lose anywhere between 3 to 6 kilos within that period of time. Probably 12 weeks. 12 weeks, probably less. 3 to 4-ish kgs.
12 weeks.
You could use, for sure, you could lose way more. But
what is it? 3,500 calories a pound. of fat, I think.
So the pound of fat, it's like 7,500 calories in a kilo, and then half that by
2.2.
Yeah.
So 3,500. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you just need to accumulate a certain amount of calorie deficit, a certain amount of a deficit during the week to accumulate that fat loss. So if you're in a 500 calorie deficit below your maintenance calories each week, you should lose anywhere between 0.3 to 0.6 grams. 0.3 to 0.600 grams per week. It may be more, it may be less. It depends, because you may drop out a certain amount of calories. It's very, but this is of fat. And then if you keep doing that for a period of 8 to 12 weeks, you could lose anywhere between 3 to 5 plus kgs, perhaps more if you've drastically changed your carbohydrate intake. Yeah. Remember, but that's of fat. So that's how you get leaner. Any baseline metrics for range of motion, strength, and flexibility for civilians and athletes? If you can touch your toes, that's good. If you can get into an inverting position in jiu-jitsu, basically, I think a lot of inverting. Owen says it's a lot of ab strength, which is massively true. But I think it's again skill acquisition, doing it properly, learning how to do it properly. But it is a lot of ab strength and hamstring flexibility and thoracic spine mobility. Yeah. So you want to have a strong core. Gar hammer raises, shout gar hammer raises, side plank bends. Make sure your spine can bend. I would say being able to touch your toes from a standing position is useful. I don't have any. What would you say a benchmark would be? Something you should be able to do to jiu-jitsu. I've seen fucking stiff people who can wrestle.
You should be able to touch your toes. I feel that would help you. I think another important one is actually being able to balance on one leg.
Yeah.
I think actually having single leg balance is required. Like, you see so many people that like
they can't even stay on one leg.
Yeah, like you'll get there, it's just so clumsy. Like, you'll see someone just pick up a single leg and they just collapse. Like, you watch wrestlers. Like, I think this is the difference between how people train in jiu-jitsu and how people train in judo and wrestling.
Wrestling's a different animal though, because most wrestlers.
So is judo.
But sure, but
so is judo,
but the reason why is because people start that sport from when they're very young. I think the difference for jiu-jitsu, and obviously there are a lot of people who start jiu-jitsu when they're younger, for sure, but a lot of people who you see and would train with most commonly have started jiu-jitsu at a later age.
I think there's a slight difference culturally as well. Like, you go into, like, let's say your random jiu-jitsu gym. Yeah. Like, the instructor's high. Like, he just had a bowl of acai. Like, it's a very laid back culture. Whereas you go into like judo, there's a clear hierarchy of like, this person's taking the session. You start off, you do a set of uchikomi of 100, then you're running up and down the mat doing an agikomi each side. Same as wrestling, you start off, you do your drills, you do your basic gymnastics, you do your handsprings, your back springs, your forward rolls, your this and that.
That's like half an hour. But so in the process of doing that, if you can't keep up with that, you're forced to do the gymnastics.
Yeah, and you build up a certain level of I would say coordination, body, physical demand. Like, most people's jiu-jitsu session is not as hard as a judo warm-up or wrestling warm-up. Truly.
No, I agree
both.
to that, yeah.
Right, you like it's a very, I think that they're taken very differently. I think the difference with jiu-jitsu is people have a very laid back culture. Let's go do some surfing, smoke a spliff, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, the fuck are you doing? Like,
that's a fair analysis. I think it's true. If you go to a wrestling club, the warm-up is going to be fucking brutal. It's going to last for half an hour. Yeah. You've got to do the gymnastics. Or if judo, I haven't been to a judo club, but like you said, you've got to do the drills. You've got to do some element of like hard shit. Do you do gymnastics for judo? Or not really, because you're in a gi. You do?
Yeah. Because we would, for example, I could like front flip off a throw, or had to cartwheel off a throw.
So you do flips in the warm-up?
Yeah. You could.
Really?
Yeah. You'd be surprised. If you want to see how ridiculous judo can look, go look at a guy called Zantaraya. He was initially, I think, Georgian, but he was competed for Ukraine. Okay? Right. This guy, match it. Like, you'd see him get thrown, he just head spins straight on his head and just flips straight out of it.
Freak neck strength.
Freak neck strength, but just like a cat. Look like a cat.
Same for the wrestlers. Look at Sud Alive, man.
Sud Alive, all of them. But
you could pick his leg up.
Frank Camiso, Italian guy, ridiculous. Like, but they have a certain level of like, not just mental strength, but their bodies are different.
Yeah, dexterity.
But it all comes down to how you train.
It's just years and years of that training. Like you said, if you
but you can still, like, let's say for example, obviously you were taking people at the top of the food chain. Let's say, i.e. the Rotolos, who have done it since they were young.
Yeah, right? Different story, but they've had good level training.
Yeah, but there's still a level of chill about it. Whereas you go to like somewhere like, let's say, a Dagestani wrestling camp, and it's just like it's a different training atmosphere.
Yeah,
the sports are different.
Yeah, they're completely different because you're like, again, warm-ups. You're doing so much good work. The pliers that you're doing, like the warm-up, the bridging, the fucking hand bridge. Like there'll be exercises where you have to like go into a thrust. You have to go into a full backward bridge and walk up and back on your hands, and then get into head springs. Learning how to do, like, to be able to do those moves. Your understanding of and your ability to move your body through space is out of control.
Yeah,
that's how people get really strong and feel really strong in techniques. It's the fluidity, and how you express strength is by having really good coordination of not only the skill but of your body's ability to move.
I think it's also understanding where your end range actually is.
Yeah,
like for example, you look at two guys that can, let's say, both throw properly. You'll see them both turn in for these like mad throws, and someone's gonna go, but all their bodies are both like corkscrewed, right? Whereas I think there's certain things that you need to have like an understanding of what your body's limitations actually are, which you wouldn't know just by going to the gym. You'd realize it by doing judo, doing wrestling.
Yes.
Figuring out irregular power patterns.
It's a common mistake people make. Like, oh, if I go to the gym, like, how do I get really... It's like the gym isn't going to make you really good at the sport. All the gym work is going to do is you'll get stronger for sure, which is useful for jiu-jitsu, because you can, for most people, it just means you can practice moves for a bit longer and you can recover faster between bouts of work. But like, let's say if you're in a big scramble, how do I improve my scramble fitness? Get more scrambles. Get better at scrambling.
I actually know what you're hunting for.
Yeah, exactly. Know what you're trying to do.
The other thing, I think, is also just being comfortable in it. Like, I remember I tried to do MMA when I was a bit younger. And I remember like...
Sharp. What year?
This was like... I'll give you a fist bump. This was...
So me and Taylor, we'll come back to you in a second. Me and Taylor were chatting about it. I got into MMA in 2011, and it goes, everyone, 2010, 2011 was just having MMA fights.
Everyone who had that tap out t-shirt. And there was the other one, Silver Star, Anderson Silver
Star, yeah.
But I think I went to shoot when I was like...
I had 5 fights from 2011, 2012.
What was your record?
5-0.
No way.
Yeah.
Why'd you quit?
I didn't want to get punched in the face. It's
all
amateur. This is all amateur, not professional.
Why
all amateur tournaments. Because I didn't want to get punched in the face. Then I had a Muay Thai fight, and I got fucked up, man. First round TKO.
They definitely gave you someone that didn't look imposing, and you're like, no, this guy's like just a,
I didn't even see what he looked like. His name was Shireen, and he's a Lebanese guy. And mate, 2 fights after he fought me, he sent someone blind. He head kicked him so hard, the guy went blind. So I'm like, bro, I'm not even joking. The guy went blind. He fucking broke his orbital, and that could have been me.
Fuck.
No, but I went out there, guns blazing. I had not done like preparation well. I was mixing some clubs. I was training at one club, training at another club, and I should have just like continued training at one club.
What was your reason for doing these fights? Just like
I just loved it. I was just like, I fucking love training. Fuck yeah, I'll jump in a fight. I was like 20 years old, and you go, fuck it, who cares? Whatever, I'll do it. And it was really fun. And then obviously get to the fight, and it's like, yeah, it's amateur fight. We'll wear shin guards, headgear. You'll be fine. Get to the fight. He goes, yeah, no shin guards, no elbow pads, headgear, rugby scrum cap. Literally. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Yeah, I'm already this far, so I'm not gonna fucking decline. Went out guns blazing, just like going for it, and he caught a kick, fucking big takedown. That was nice, and then he kicked me really fucking hard. I blocked it with my arm, and I just like put my head down, swinging. He got me a fucking huge uppercut. Head came up, then for a hook, and then fucking, I think he kneed me in the face or got me again with another uppercut, and my nose was like busted up.
At least
and
you
the refs
remember
like,
that's always good.
The refs, I wasn't knocked out, but the refs like, this is over. This is done.
That is brutal.
Yeah,
Did you get any stoppages in the first 5 you had, the amateur ones?
Yeah, I had armbar from Mount. Can you believe?
You can't even do that.
I had what? Can't even do that now.
What do you mean?
Armbar from Mount. He came out fucking guns blazing, shot a double leg, got on top, got on Mount, armbarred him. Decision, and one fight I just kept head kicking the guy.
It was like a kickboxing fight, and he just turned it into an MMA fight.
Yeah.
He thought you were just doing K1.
I felt sorry for this guy. I just kept fucking left head kicking him, and the refs are like, this is enough. But we had shin pads, all the fucking padding and shit.
Yeah, but there's only so much that can save you.
He was just kept getting fucking bang, bang, and the refs like, that's enough.
That is terrible.
That's enough.
No, but my point was this: is
anyway,
that like when you're in a state of like not being it's not natural to you, i.e. scrambles, let's say, or whatever. You don't get like a regular breathing pattern. And I remember like I'd done judo and I was pretty chill. Like I knew how to cruise through a round if I wanted to, blah, blah, blah. And you can always manage your pace, you can manage your breathing, etc., etc. But the second you're out your comfort zone, that goes out the fucking window. Like I remember trying to do MMA.
Fair.
And you buy every fake the guy sends you. So it's like you're sitting here and I'm stiff as a fucking board. And I'm with this guy who's
as a board,
barely 60 kilos, but he was like the British MMA Cage Warriors champ back then or something. And he was just...
How did you have a fight with this guy?
I was training.
Oh, okay.
But like in this place, it was like, okay, let's just see where you're at kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And he was just faking up, down, up, down. And I was gassed in 2 minutes because I was like...
Yeah, mental energy too, man. The mental fatigue plays a huge part.
If let's say I go and like wrestle someone and they like just fake a single, I'm not even going to react unless it's a good single, right? Whereas if you're unfamiliar, the guy was like throwing a jab, like not even throwing it, and I was like, shit, like this, and I was like, shit, double, like shit.
Yeah.
2 minutes, I couldn't even breathe, and the guy just lands one body shot, and I'm like, like
it's game over. That's fair. And that's a good analogy actually. You gotta be like, you've got to practice more scrambles. If you want to get better at scrambles, you got to be more scrambles.
You'll see more, but also you're more composed, and you have what I call a regular breathing pattern.
Know what you're looking for. I think that's the key. Because you can do all the cardio, but all the cardio is going to do is like you get into a scramble, you get really tired, and you'll just recover faster after the scramble. That's
also it depends. Like some people learn differently. Like I've taught different people who...
We have to wrap this up soon. My fear is that camera is going to go off because it was 55% charge.
All right,
before we put it on.
Should I wrap it up now?
Huh?
Should I wrap it? Should I say this or should I wrap it up?
Say it, yeah. Say what you
I was going to say that some people, for example, in a scramble will learn differently because some people will look for a specific combination of like, okay, I'm going to drag this and do that. And they might get it perfectly. But someone else will not understand that. And if you just say to them, cool, just make sure your hips are higher. If your hips are higher, you win. They'll find a way to get their hips higher.
Yeah.
And they'll win that scramble. So some people you can coach by just giving them the exact movement pattern, and some people you can actually coach by just giving them the theory of whoever has their hips higher wins, and they'll find a way themselves to get their hips higher.
I think that's why the ecological approach has been very popularized.
Yeah, but then you also skip out like actual
fundamental movements.
I think it's an okay way to basically cover a lot of ground super quickly and then revisit.
Fair play. Let's finish up there before that camera dies. I think I've had a great time on this podcast.
As always.
Guys, thanks for listening. Guys, oh fuck, we forgot to say at the start. Remember, guys, like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, do all that. Spotify, top right hand corner, 3 dots, rate 5-star. YouTube, you need to fucking subscribe.
I beg you.
And make sure you like the video.
I beg you by my instructional. I got burgled on New Year's Eve.
Christian Ozbek has an instructional with Satoshi Ishii, so make sure you go to Satoshi Ishii's instructional page.
I got burgled. Please buy my instructional.
No one cares.
I beg you.
My strength and conditioning programs.
No one cares.
Check it out. Everything's in the bio. Thanks, guys. Great to see you.